bit more.
No,
I don't know.
too
Okay.
late.
Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. What does it mean? Oh gosh, Dulcie. Welcome everybody. Hello, welcome back to Astrology Victoria here once again with a bit more.
With Dulcie. Oops, I can't.
Okay. Meeting
blah, blah.
and blah blah.
I just
featuring Dulcie, Tatiana, and Mercury retrograding. Blah blah blah. And guess what? We're like twins today. Look, this is
serious.
So serendipitous. Like I know, even our couches are matching. It's like, what happened? We did not plan this. Like, I swear, we just jumped on camera. We're like dressed the same. We're dressed for the eclipse, by the way. You know,
I was even wearing a different sweater this morning, and I just chose this sweater. Like right before, I was like, okay, no, I want this sweater instead.
Well, there you go. We kind of tuned into each other's, twin-like nature. So because we're gonna talk about, well, we were just blabbing, but blabbing, is that a word? Anyway.
20 minutes ago, anyways.
But this is relevant. Why? Why is this relevant? Because we're going to talk about what today, Dulcie?
We're talking about the solar eclipse in Gemini, which is all about those twins, those
possibilities,
differences of ideas, and yeah.
Exactly. So this eclipse is happening at 19 degrees of Gemini. And so for those who know about astrology, you can get your chart and look, where do you have 19 degrees of Gemini? What area of life, what house is it happening for you? So you can adapt this information to your own case. And if you have a planet associated with that, especially it could be any planet, but if you have like the sun in your natal chart, the moon, Mercury, very personal planets, you're going to be feeling this like on steroids. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you have the outer planets too, you're going to be feeling more of like life shifting you. So this is really important because whenever eclipses happen, what happens, Dulcie? What is an eclipse? Let's start there. So can you give us a little?
A solar eclipse. So our latest video covered the lunar eclipse, but this is a solar eclipse. So a solar eclipse is always a new moon. And when the sun and the moon come together somewhere near the node, then you'll have an eclipse. And so the moon has come and it's now blocking the light of the sun. And they're kind of on par with each other. And the moon is blocking the light of the sun for us. So it's a momentary thing. And then we can obviously see the light of the sun again. But it can be, it's a significant period of time for us, and it signifies some sort of change, some sort of adjustment in karma, or a new trajectory in your life.
It's evolutionary, basically, because it's close to the nodes, which point towards the directions of evolution. Basically, it's like where we're kind of moving towards. Every time there's an eclipse, there's this opportunity to kind of jump through this portal of possibility that is literally pushing you by releasing whatever, it's not really supporting evolution, and bringing in the new things that will support evolution. So I heard this from a phenomenal astrologer named Pablo Flores. He gave this example of a glass full of water. And if it's full of water and you keep adding water, like you can't right? So the eclipse is like taking the glass of water and it's like, just dump it off. So we can put the new stuff in, like, okay, this is where we're, new water, new ideas, new perspectives, new realities. And so this is what happens during eclipses. We have eclipses every year because, we evolve we evolve with time. So eclipses usually what we call the eclipse season usually starts new evolutionary cycles and then completes the evolutionary cycles like later on. So, and this eclipse happening in the axis of Gemini and Sagittarius, this axis of Gemini Sagittarius talks about truth, whether it is truth by fact checking, what do I see, what's the information, that's Gemini, that I get to make an idea of a mental idea of my reality, or whether it is the Sagittarius polarity where truth comes from within, from a knowing, from an intuitive place where we say, this is my truth. So Gemini, the truths, and Sagittarius, my truth. So we had these both eclipses along those axes. So what this speaks for us at this moment in time literally is we're being rerouted with all this like craziness to finding in the end new versions of truth for ourselves and our realities. So Dulcie, would you like to pull up the chart and then we can start going into detail as of what is going on so you guys can see? Okay, so that's awesome.
All right, so here we have, well, I guess starting with the eclipse is the sun and the moon coming together near the north node. So that itself is the solar eclipse there. And we can add in Mercury. Mercury is playing a big role in this because, first of all, this is occurring in Gemini, which is a sign that Mercury rules, and Mercury is right there conjunct this eclipse. So it is participating wholeheartedly, and it is retrograde. So it is a very powerful Mercury retrograde.
It's on steroids. Mercury retrograde on steroids.
It's got a lot to say, but you might not fully understand it immediately.
So Dulcie, what are the themes associated with Mercury? Because this is going to influence this eclipse like really deeply. What are the things associated with Mercury and Gemini?
Yeah, I mean, this will have a lot to do with your mind and your thinking patterns and your communication with others, how you express yourself. So we'll be discussing quite a bit about your own mind. So what is happening in your mind? What power does your mind have on your life, on your own physical, mental, and emotional well-being? And the fact that this is happening in Gemini, we can recognize that there is a lot of information coming at
a lot of minds. That's a lot of minds.
A lot of mind things. Yeah, there's a lot of information coming at us from all directions, and it's difficult to determine what is true, what is not true, what do we actually believe. And so we'll be learning to kind of cancel out all of that noise and just recognize what I believe or what you believe. And aside from all of the external information, and then to use that to guide your actions and your decisions.
Yes, and I want to add to that because it's retrograde, the energy of that like solar energy, which pushes the expression of self through the mind or the way we think about ourselves or the thoughts we have will create ideas. Those ideas get crystallized and then they create realities for us. Like in this, I'm not going to go too much in detail about quantum projection of reality, but if everything we think it's a projection and then things come back to us, what happens right now is the Mercury retrograde kind of turns the energy or that solar or mental energy like this towards the inside, like almost like us if the sun was shining back within to reevaluate. Remember, retrograde is for everything, reevaluate, rethink, replan, right? So what things have you been, or how can you reevaluate your thinking patterns. Like, what do you think? Are you even aware of what you think? And this is where we're going to go into a few very useful tools to start harnessing this. It's like, are you even aware of your thoughts, or do you just react and believe the first thing you listen? You know, this is also time of like telephone game, the telephone game where somebody says something and then you interpret it and then you pass it on, and some information gets lost and it gets passed on, passed on, passed on. And then it creates a whole lot of misinformations. So this is a time to regroup and go, well, can I actually fact check on something, or did I just pick it up because somebody says that somebody said that somebody said that somebody said? It's like, where is my connection to a fact? Like, do I really know? Do you really know for sure what something is, or did you just pick it up somewhere? So this is, Gemini helps us to fact check, like for real, not believe fact checked, like fact check with what's in your immediate reality. Because Mercury, of course, is the mind, but Gemini also rules this immediate reality. Is what's immediately next, closer to you, as opposed to Sagittarius, which rules what's kind of far, which is like philosophical. It's over there, In Gemini, we want to be over here, close to home. And Dulcie, do you want to now bring up that very interesting square to Neptune, and what that can be? How can that be influencing this combo we have with the Gemini solar eclipse? So, dear Neptune here.
So there's Neptune, and it's squaring. I'll draw a line, maybe. So it's squaring all of this over here. And so Neptune has a kind of blurring quality, a dissolving quality. It can make things more spiritual. It can kind of bring in that spiritual realm into situations. So it could be making things and information much less clear, so it's difficult to discern what is true. But it also can bring in the more kind of spiritual element to it. So as you are meditating or as you are practicing mindfulness, you are able to kind of really center yourself and acknowledge what you truly believe and feel. And you can kind of pick up on those, use your senses, your spiritual senses, your soul senses, rather than just your rational mind.
That's really exactly what this square is about. Is like, how can we find that fine tune, that pull of like, oh, I probably believe that something is true or happening, or I saw some kind of thing from the other side. And then in that square, it's like, is that really so? Or is it just your own perception based on your own mental processes? And this is, the square makes it kind of requires an adjustment. So this is why fact checking, and right now we have like basically the only thing we have, we do have some, we don't have much earth going on right now, like actual earth. There's a lot of mind and water, in there's a lot of air energy, water energy. So right now, getting a little bit of groundedness, like actually going into, okay, is this thing that I'm getting from wherever, from the spiritual realms, can I fact check it and make sure that what I'm expressing is not something that's completely made up and it's completely delusional? Because that could be one expression of that energy, complete delusion. Or am I really getting something that holds not only true, however, it's based also on a certain consensus reality that is pushing humanity forward into more well-being? And what I would say with this is, if we can find how we align. However, for yourself, and this is you with yourself, if something feels good to you, truly and genuine, not because so and so said so, but because you tuned into you with your silencing of your mind, or with yourself, or your own awareness of your own thoughts. And Dulcie will speak to about mindfulness a little bit. If you are aware of your own thoughts, and not like what people believe, that maybe you get a lot of people telling you things like, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 people, Gemini, lots of people, and then you're like lost in this. And if you're not like connected to your what really feels and holds true to you, what can happen is that you start expressing maybe somebody else's thing that's not even you. So this is why this adjustment in this square, uh, it's like, and it's also a separating square. So it's just like this first part that says, okay, what's really going on here? Can you actually, start thinking about these new ideas or new perceptions of the intangible, uh, in a way that it makes your life better, more fulfilling, more spiritually connected, more loving. And with this being, can you express this to others around you? If that holds true for you, then hey, hello, we're pushing forward a humanity that's going in that sense. If on the contrary, it creates more fear, your thoughts, Mercury, your mind, and you're being confused by all these fear narratives and things like that, then give it a good thought. Is that what you're subscribing to? I'm not anybody to say, believe me. Like, actually, I'm here telling you, don't even believe me. I'm just saying. So, Dulcie, would you like to say something about mindfulness and the mindfulness practices so people can
Yeah,
know a little
definitely.
bit what you're doing? Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been recently taking a mindfulness course, an 8-week program. So this is, I'm sure most people know what mindfulness is,
But
but
maybe lots of people don't.
yeah, it's essentially learning to be in the moment, and not let your mind be constantly forward thinking or thinking about the past, but really just paying attention to what's happening in the present. Paying attention to what's happening around you, paying attention to what's happening in your mind and what's happening in your body. So, practicing using your 5 senses to explore your environment, practicing um, recognizing what you're thinking and not judging it. That's a huge part of it, not judging it, not saying, oh, I shouldn't be thinking this way, or yeah, no, I shouldn't be thinking this way, or I'm a bad person for thinking that, or anything like that. Or, my mind is supposed to be blank right now. My mind shouldn't be racing and having thoughts. It's not about that. It's just about recognizing that it's happening and accepting it. Same for feelings, recognizing what you're feeling, how that feels in your body. Um, and so there are different practices to do to pay attention to that. So you could do the body scan, which you can find online anywhere. It walks you through a meditation where you pay attention to each part of your body and how it's feeling, which we normally don't do. We just kind of go and our mind is going and we kind of ignore the sensations in our bodies. Um, and when we're meditating as well, instead of following a thought as it goes, just naming it. One word, thought. Or if you have a feeling about something, just name it feeling. If you hear a sound, just name it sound. Um, and that's a good way to kind of acknowledge it and not judge it and then let it go. And another one, so journaling, we discussed this earlier, but just kind of journaling for even just a few minutes and getting your thoughts on paper is a good way to really recognize what you're thinking and feeling in that moment. Sometimes it's difficult to recognize as we're going about our day or even just thinking in our mind. But if we get it down on paper, it seems to just come out and we can see it clearly and we can sit with it and acknowledge it. Um, yeah, and noticing your bodily responses to different situations. So something that you perceive to be negative happens. What's happening in your body? Where do you feel it? If something positive is happening, what happens in your body? Are you feeling it in your chest? Are you feeling it in your stomach? And just kind of follow that sensation, sit with that sensation, explore that sensation, and what thoughts and emotions does that bring up for you? And that can really lead you on this path of discovery of what's happening for you in your body and your mind.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, Dulcie, for that. That's actually pretty awesome because this square to Neptune will require those adjustments. And if you consciously remember astrology, it's neutral. It's not like good or bad. It's just energies move and you ride the waves. But if you ride them consciously by going, okay, are all these thoughts really mine? Where do these thoughts come from? Or should I even judge a thought? And start practices like mindfulness, which is wonderful. What you just described is like this will give you access to neutralizing again reality. Neutralizing means not giving judgments based on patterns or based on preconceived ideas that could be ancient as time, like really questioning. Remember, Gemini is about question, and Mercury questions everything to redefine reality. So this the only way to do that is when you question your own thoughts, and that's why that retrograde is coming back to you. It's a wonderful practice to begin, and we will do a little guided meditation at the end to align with these ideas of just observing the present. So stay tuned until the end. We'll have that um, for you to practice today, tomorrow, or anytime, you know. So that's that. And then with this context of the eclipse, we do want to mention a little bit what's going on, not very extensively with the rest, because this, what we just mentioned with the eclipse, is really the focus, the focal point of the energy. However, we do have a few very powerful other energies in at play. So the first one we could look at is you want to look at the Pluto Mars.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's a fun one.
yeah. So we are going to talk about this a little bit because these are the things or situations that may be happening where we can most begin reflecting about. Because if we have this whole reflection opportunity with the Gemini eclipse, well, what are we reflecting on? Our own thoughts, but look, what's happening also within ourselves. And this Mars Pluto it's charged. So Dulcie, what could you say about this Mars Pluto?
So this could be about, so Pluto is all about power and transformation and kind of digging deep into the underworld and discovering what's there and then using that to transform into something
Some
better for yourself.
evolutionary driver.
and and Mars is all about action, taking action to defend oneself, to defend others, to fight for what one believes in.
To go for what you want.
Yeah, yeah, drive. Um, so when these two are going head to head, it can be some sort of tension between what one wants and perhaps the powers that be, or there's some sort of inner conflict that you need to overcome in order um, to become a better person and to kind of transform into more of who you are and who you want to be.
Yeah, there could be issues of anger coming to the surface,
Yeah.
or disempowerment, or either anger because somebody has power over, because we hand our power over, or the opposite can hold true. Power, we can, with this aspect, when it's not consciously, observed, it can be the desire to overpower something else. So there's this Mars Pluto is like an explosive combination. Imagine having the dynamite sitting and then like like light it up in fire, right? And so it can be very explosive. Lots of rage and anger can be coming to the center. And Mars being at the energetic degree, the 29th degree, which is the last degree of Cancer, usually has that urgency. And it's almost like in Cancer, it's like what makes us secure, safe, safe in ourselves. It's almost like defending our survival needs, but our needs for safety and security with like blood and tears against maybe a powerful structure that doesn't support it. So there could be a lot of tension between the governments or power structures or things that are, and then anger. We can see this not only because that's there and it could bring a lot of explosive material, but we also have that Saturn Uranus almost exact square that we've been talking about. Can you show Saturn Uranus so people can, especially if you don't know a lot of astrology, we can show you the characters here. Mr. Saturn there, authority, power, and not power, authority, limitations, structures. Saturn is not bad. It's just, what needs to be done. Like that's Saturn. It's cool. I love Saturn. And Uranus is like freedom, innovation, so that square between Saturn and Uranus, coupled with Mars and Pluto, could bring a lot of like the pressure cooker is about to blow up. So what happens? We are indeed seeing a lot of this in the world, because we can see that there's pressure cookers a little bit everywhere. I know in my own country, Colombia, there's been this massive pressure cooking, like just people demanding new things. They want more security, more the rights, like, but with Pluto and Mars involved, we know that the evolutionary desire is to move into something that gives us more security, new structures that will provide a better cohesive society. However, not without the struggle. Now, because this is always a reflection of ourselves outside, and this is what I would say to people: reflect instead of putting or shoving your own anger outside of you. Go inside of you and see why you're angry. Why you feel repressed, constricted, afraid. Pluto also rules over fear. So where are your fears? Why is something making you angry? Did somebody do something? But it's not somebody that did something. It's you yourself projecting onto reality that for you to see. And Pluto is also retrograde. It's like, it's about you moving past your own anger, your own fear, your own limitations in order to achieve that freedom that your own Uranus wants for you. So these planets are not outside of you. This is all you in the sky somehow. Is the collective sky, right? And if these planets are talking to you directly, well, then it's good to see what planets are activating for you right now, and you can see that by the house, by the sign and by the degree. And if you know more astrology, you can probably find that out for yourself. Otherwise, you can always contact us and we'll be happy to help you. So this is what I have to say is like, this, don't like, instead of pushing it all outwards, how are you going to resolve that within you? look where that came from, why it came from, where it came from. You know, that Mars at the 29th degree of Cancer is still looking at the roots, the core roots of your sense of safety, security, nurturing, your family, like what happened there, right? Um, so this is a beautiful opportunity to take this Gemini eclipse energy to revisit all of your thinking, all of your beliefs, all of what your fears, and not project it outside into the world by going and kicking and screaming and killing and whatever. You know, it's like, well, the revolution happens inside of you. It's like if you want to free yourself, Uranus, freedom, free yourself from within, not by what everybody else says or has to say, but what your own sense of freedom is. So this is what I think about that. Dulcie, do you have anything to add about this combo, what I just said?
Yeah. So the thing about Mars, Pluto, and trying to express your potentially your frustration or being upset about limitations and wanting to break free of that, this could result in something explosive. And Mars has just passed Pluto, so this could have recently happened for you. Um, it could have been
But
something
it's still
just
in the air. Yeah.
just a sudden expression of your anger. But it could also be an opportunity to perhaps not express your anger immediately towards other people, but acknowledge that anger, sit with it for a while, recognize where it's coming from, like Tatiana said, um, and explore all those feelings related to it. Anger is often related to other emotions like feeling rejected or feeling disempowered. So, where is that anger coming from? And then once your anger has calmed down, so when we are angry, our amygdala is fired up, and that blocks our ability to use our frontal lobes and our rational minds. So we need to kind of take a minute and wait until we've experienced the anger, gone through it, and our amygdala has now calmed down, and we can now use our rational brain and put the right words to it and really express how this situation has made you feel in a respectful way. And there could be some sort of resolution for the positive if you are able to kind of process it in a
Healthy way.
yeah.
Otherwise, you have a Spartan warrior, your own personal little Spartan warrior come out of you like, ah! And that's what could happen.
Which
and
happens,
like,
definitely.
which happens, and we see it all over the world. But this is why this gives you choice. And what Dulcie said about sitting with it, waiting it for it to observe it, and then put the right words to it. And this is why that this Gemini eclipse also gives us, I would also say find tools out there. I'm going to recommend nonviolent communication. This is a Marshall Rosenberg. If you've not ever heard of it, this is a wonderful tool for for putting words to emotions and then finding resolution without needing to be violent. This is why it's nonviolent communication. Get that little Spartan warrior of yours that lives in there and give it some education, some manners, some civism. Like, come on, little Spartan warrior, we're gonna just show you that there is another way. And
yeah, I just want to say, not to say that those moments of defensiveness aren't needed. Like if
they are
happening, and you need to react like immediately. That's of course definitely something that needs to happen in that moment. But in terms of other situations where it's just between you and another person and there's no physical defensiveness needed, then yeah, kind of taking that time to process.
Yeah. And then last but not least, we have this beautiful, like, I don't know, it is a loose trine between Jupiter and Venus. So this is the last thing that kind of gets this combo this eclipse combo um, kind of together. This one is kind of pretty cool because can you make a little line so you see the
Yeah.
trine between them? It's like a trine means it's 120 degrees, which is a flowing, it's easy energy. You see the squares are kind of difficult energy. No, exactly. The trine, like a triangle, it's like, oh, this is easy. This is flowing. So Venus, when we see the themes of Venus and Venus in Cancer is yourself, your emotions, your self nurturing. This is big time self love. This is all about your self love. And Jupiter, big Santa Claus of the zodiac, is coming with big energy saying, yes, how do you access self love? Here is all the things. Jupiter is supporting that. So if you're able to recognize and go past that fear, that anger, that revolution inside of you, those mental chatters and chaoses, and go to what do I really love to do that makes me feel good without expecting from anybody else? Is it putting happy music on? Is it drawing? Maybe you're connected to something artistic, beautiful time to explore, maybe dancing. If you've never done it, then maybe you can go and try, like, move your body, dance to some happy music, create something. Venus is very creative as well, and it makes beautiful things. Go to the water. We have this is in water signs. So maybe if you have your local fountain or your local ocean or your local lake or your local bathtub or your local sink, it doesn't matter what your local water is, connect to it. And if you don't have any local water, maybe listen to music that has water trickling, you know, and evoke that, or even imagine it or draw. Why? Because this will connect you back to what you love, and really discern, what do you truly love? What makes you feel safe, secure in yourself? What? It's probably very different for every person. So this is a great time to revisit that. And here's why. Because as we go through this massive squeeze, when every human being has really found what their soul calling is, what really truly makes them feel good, what makes them feel safe within themselves, not expected from anything outside, but from within, what happens is you begin to express that in the world, basically express your gift. So so this is an invitation almost from, Jupiter and Venus to reconnect back to that, um, and really pause the mind chatter. So if anything, all of this is happening simultaneously in the sky. You might be connecting to this energy more or less, depending on your own personal chart. However, know that this is also pushing that evolution forward towards a humanity that finds safety in what they love. And when we trust that, Jupiter is in Pisces, it's almost like trusting. We did talk about this in our last video. When you trust that there's something much bigger pushing you to your true soul's desire, that's when you start making a life that appears in your reality that is completely aligned with your soul. This is the beautiful opportunity that we're having also with these eclipses. So I say go for it. Dulcie, anything else about this? And then we'll move on to a little meditation, or if you want to say anything else related to anything.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to read a couple of things from Ren's book as well, but before I do that,
Who's Ren? Can you say who's Ren?
before I do that, I just want to comment on what you just said about Jupiter and Pisces. I really have been lately feeling that support by the divine, it's I felt it before this too, but not in such a clear way. Just like clear signs that there is, a divine timing, divine purpose. Just I'm connected to like something else. And so I think this Jupiter Venus is just going to amplify that significantly. And perhaps you're not necessarily feeling it, I would say find ways to maybe slow down a little bit, or um, we all have really busy lives, but perhaps just taking a moment to be aware of one's surroundings, be aware of one's emotions, um, and being able to discern what is yours and what is someone else's. And I find for myself, once I'm able to just discern what is mine, that connection between myself and source, God, whatever you want to call it, is just so much clearer. And I have that trust that things will work out, even if it's not the way that I want it to be. That's okay. I'm learning from this, and there's I don't want to say a reason for this, because that minimizes a lot of things that people experience, but I don't get my way all the time, and I can learn to not be frustrated by that. I can learn to just accept it, move through it, and and find out that I get something else in return. Um, Anyways, what Ren has said
Ren is Ren Butler. He is a dear member of our community here in Victoria, and he is the author of a few phenomenal books. And I totally recommend anybody getting this book if you're really into astrology. It's the Archetypal Universe. Can you lift it?
I'll show it right here.
It's a phenomenal book that gives you real precise insight on how these dynamics between planets work. So it's absolutely phenomenal. So we shout out to Ren every single time for having completed this body of work. So Dulcie, go ahead and read.
Yeah, I think I'll just stop the share here. So yeah, with each combination of planets, he writes quite a bit about it. So I'll just read that top paragraph, that short paragraph at the top. But yeah, he combines the planets and explains what the feeling is, what that can look like archetypally, and what it how it can be expressed in your life. So I want to read Venus, Jupiter, and then I wanted to go back to the eclipse. So combining the sun, moon, and Mercury, if that's okay. Awesome. Okay, so Venus, Jupiter,
with me.
yeah, can be feelings of grand happiness and enjoyment, positive and supportive relationships, a gorgeous and expansive beauty, impressive taste and style, the glory of love. And then kind of on the more
but that's when we have like squares or tens.
yeah, I guess that's
so I don't think at this moment that's
well, we just maybe be careful of overindulgence kind of things.
Yeah, that would
Spending
be
too much,
shadow side,
or like getting a little bit lost in
hedonistic things.
Yeah.
Hedonism.
All right, so let's continue on to the actual solar eclipse, which we are focusing on today. So I've combined Sun, Mercury, and Moon. So a gift for warm emotional communication, conscious sharing and listening in alternation, endearing self-disclosure, and just look out for self-centered communication. So overly talking about oneself, an overly subjective point of view, the potential for nervous overstimulation or burnout. Oh, we didn't really discuss that too in depth. We acknowledged it, I think, but I've heard a lot, and I'm doing it, you're doing it, and we hadn't discussed it. It wasn't a plan, but just kind of taking a break from social media or the news, that kind of thing. So many people have been doing that.
I did. I've like dropped out. Like, don't want to know about it. Don't want to hear. I don't know. Talk to the hand.
Yeah.
Keep talking to the hand.
Yeah, we're all just overstimulated.
Yeah. So
taking a break from all of that do wonders for your mind and your everything, your well-being, all the well-beings. So anyways, that was Ren's book. Thank you.
Thank you, Dulcie, for reading this. And So now, because we're going to end it with a very short meditation practice to actually put in practice what we've been talking about. Because what's the point of talking and not practicing, right? So I'm going to invite you at this moment. I'm going to share some music, and for you who are new, I also have created. I have a band called Harmonic Butterfly, and I create music for healing with different frequencies. And if you like this, that's awesome. Um, I'll leave in links in the description box below if you like this music. So I'm just gonna share this. Am I sharing it already?
Yes.
Dulcie? Okay, can you hear the music just to make sure? Can you hear? Oh, lovely. All right, so at this moment,
Oh, there's a buzzing.
a buzzing.
I think it's from you though.
Am I buzzing? I'm buzzing.
Yeah.
Like, is it buzzing? Mercury, don't do
I
this.
know. So on theme.
Is it buzzing
No.
still?
It's okay right now.
Okay. So now we can focus on our practice. So I will invite you at this moment to find a comfortable position to sit in. Try not to cross. If you're sitting on a chair, do not cross your feet or legs or hands. Try to keep the channels open to flow. And close your eyes and take one deep breath. And breathe out. Be very present to how your breath feels in your body. What part of your chest or belly or what part of your body is being affected by your breath. When you take a breath, another deep breath, notice where the breath goes. Again, is it going to the belly? Is it going to the chest? Is it up? Is it down? Are you able to slow your breath down a little bit more? So I invite you to take a slow breath and to notice how the air passes through your nose, how your diaphragm deeply expands, where in the body. Just notice those very little things in your body, the air. Do this for a minute or so, just noticing without any judgment or thought about it. Notice how it feels, where it feels. Is it cold? Is it warm? Now at this moment,
After noticing just the air coming in, notice if there is any tension in any part of the body. Are you holding tension in your shoulders or your feet or your hands? Just notice. And once you notice the tension, are you able to relax it? Once you notice it, use the breath out to relax that particular part of your body. Keep doing this, noticing little pockets of tension. Maybe you relaxed one little pocket of tension and then it goes back to being tense, or maybe not. Just keep tracking these little pockets of tension in your body. Now allow your breath to keep flowing smoothly and gently. And now notice if anything has shifted within you, just by noticing those little tiny changes. Has anything shifted? Do you feel different? Now notice the area of your heart. And with each breath, just imagine that it expands and contracts gently. Expands. And it feels just good. It feels good to be you. It feels awesome to be in your center. Feel your own love. Feel your own heart. And notice the heartbeat if you're able to. Notice your heartbeat. And then take a big breath. And now slowly begin to gain awareness of your feet, your toes, your fingers. Move them with this awareness of moving your fingers, your toes. Slowly come back to yourself, to your own heart, your own breath, your own being. When you feel ready, you may open your eyes. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tatiana.
You're welcome, Dulcie. So this is a very simple little meditation that you can that you can do at any point is simple, is short. It will just get you back to you, gets you back to your senses, what Dulcie was explaining earlier on. You see, it's not difficult. Just takes a little time to do that. And yeah, you will feel that there's, I mean, at least I feel the shifts very clearly with practice. And this is where your Virgo host will tell you practice, practice, practice makes perfect. You know, the first time might not be so easy. You're flooded with ideas, fears, things, thoughts. But as you really do these slow, simple practices, you will start connecting to that of all of what we've been talking about. And if you're interested in more guided meditations, I'll also leave a link below to my other YouTube channel, Tatiana's Spiritual Toolbox, where I put tons of guided meditations if you're needing to, you don't know where to look. There's tons of stuff out there, so you can just choose from whatever you feel connected to. However, if you like this, then I'll direct you there too. That's that. So Dulcie.
So we also are organizing events for Astrology Victoria. We host monthly astro chats, so just casual astro chats. So we have a Zoom meeting all together and we discuss a topic that is relevant in the moment. We also have monthly speakers, so we host astrologers who have something that they would like to share, a topic that they would like to share with everyone, and everyone is invited. We do it by donation based. So it's great if you are able to donate. If not, you are still welcome. Please just join anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to participate in those, or if you want to participate on Facebook, we have members of the community posting about their own videos, their own blogs, their own work, and you can participate in that discussion. So we are Astrology Victoria, and you can add the BC because we are in Canada. And we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we are on Meetup, and obviously on YouTube. So feel free to join us anywhere there and join in on the discussions and the
Awesome.
Astro fun.
Share, subscribe. Woohoo! That's the combo, the YouTubers combo. You probably have heard this a million times, but there's a reason for it. If you want to be part of our community, please join. We love you all, and Dulcie, I absolutely adore you. Thank you for this.
Oh, you too.
And please, if you think that this video can help anybody, please don't hesitate to share it with others. The eclipse is happening tomorrow, so this still holds true for your evolution at any moment in time. Blessings. Love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.